So we're making hot pepper jelly. I never really understood the hype for that, but I guess it's great for like your charcuterie boards and like even putting on your meat when you bake your meat, cook your meat and stuff like that. I guess it's super good. I don't know. I've had some requests for it, so we're making it. This is just some of the peppers I have left yet. All these little ones here I'll string up and dry them for other purposes. You can see some of them's getting wrinkly. They're getting a little on the old side here. So those ones I've picked and choose through. Now these are my hot peppers here. Not that one. But jalapenos and stuff like that I've got cut up. We'll run them through the food processor. I kind of forgot to, video it. So I've already got peppers ran through the food processor. But with that, this recipe I have here found online. 1 cup of one red bell pepper, 1 green bell pepper, and about 10 jalapeno peppers. And that should give me about, where's it say it? 3 cups of finely chopped peppers. Now I am going to strain some of the juice out of them, only because that's a lot of water juice, pepper juice, whatever the word is. I'm just going to run it through the sieve. I'm not going to push it into that moment. I'm going to let the juice run out of it. A cup of white vinegar, which I have right here. White vinegar. And here's my salt. I only need a half a teaspoon of salt here. So I got both those. 6 cups of sugar, which seems like a lot, but I guess, when you counteract it with 10 jalapenos, that it's supposed to make it mild pepper jelly. I don't know. I don't have a clue. And then a pack of liquid pectin. That gets added at the end because of the way it's liquid. You don't put it in and boil it before the sugar. You put the sugar in, cook it, and then you put the pectin in. It's done certain ways so that the properties of the pectin to make it thicken isn't killed off. But anyhow, let me get over here to the food processor. Okay, now I ran these peppers through the sieve, and mind you, they are juicy. And I overflowed the thingy-majigger. Now it's 3 cups total between the 2 bell peppers and all of the jalapenos. But if I'm going to run this food processor and make a mess with it, I'm going to do up a bunch of them and make several batches of jelly. So yes, I'm fully aware that this is a lot of peppers. Look how that juice run out. That's a lot. I mean, I know I want some in there for the hotness, whatever, but these are just the bells. This ain't even like the hot factor. And I'm still going to add the vinegar and stuff to it. Oop! Make a mess. Anyhow, yeah. Now we'll do the bell peppers, or the dadgummit, what's it called? Jalapenos, and we'll make measurements of 3 cups of each out that way then. Okay, so I got this 2-cup measuring cup here. I'm figuring if the peppers was 1 red, 1 green, whatever. Figuring that would have been around about a cupish, because that's a cup. That's probably a good diced amount, but I'm just going to make it up. Because I didn't really measure it, because like I said, I did multiple peppers. Plus they called for medium peppers, and mine were all sorts of sizes. So we're going to say this is roughly 1 1/4, almost 1 1/2 cups. So the rest of it will be jalapenos. Now mind y'all, these things are potent. Man, I inhaled when I opened the thingy up. Like to kicked my butt. Whew, it's like chemical pepper spraying ourselves up in here. That was awful. Anyhow. Yep, so that's 2 cups. Put that into a pan here. So then I'll need 1 more cup to go. Now, the pictures I saw, the peppers were a lot more green, but my jalapenos was a mixture of all the colors because of, well, they're at the end of season, and some of them are riper than others. So this ain't as just greeny looking. It's kind of a mixture of all of them. But yeah, so anyhow, let me see. Get 3 cups here, and we'll take her from there. I guess we'll put a little bit more bell pepper in there, just to get the third cup there. There we go, 3 cups of peppers. Okay, So 3 cups of peppers, and then you got to place in the pot your peppers, the vinegar, which is 1 cup of white vinegar. Ooh. Oh, perfect. And half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, got my half a teaspoon out here. Fill it up all the way. That's even less. My gosh, I'm telling y'all what, it's been a day. Been a day in the kitchen of trying to accomplish, but not. And then I need 6 cups of sugar. And then I will bring that to a boil, and it will boil for 5 minutes. But first I gotta get sugar in it, get it to boiling. I'm gonna move it to the stove though so I don't dump it. That's 5 cups there. One more. Seems like a lot, but a lot of your jelly recipes calls for about 6 cups of sugar. Especially when you're not using the sugar-free pectins, which wouldn't make sense in the case of the peppers jelly because, well, there's nothing else really to go with it here. Anyhow, I'll turn it on heat here and let it cook for 5 minutes, stirring it occasionally, they said. But I'm a firm believer in the almost continuous stir. Okay, so my kids are fighting in the background, so please ignore them. You can see how juicy this has already gotten. I do have the jars going into the oven because it's a hot pack. So hot food, which is what this will be, goes into hot jars, which is what happens in the oven because my stove is full of other stuff. So hot food goes into hot jars that goes into a hot canner, water bath canner. So that is also going outside. Now you can see in here, I got the jars being put in, clean jars, clean sterile jars, going in the oven to be heated. And I set the oven on the lowest, which is like 170 or 200 or something like that. So they're not like super duper hot, but the food is, you know, hot. The jars are hot. It's not going to shock the glass and cause it to break. Okay, so you can see it's boiling. I set the timer for 5 minutes. Now we got to stir it and let it boil for 5 minutes, and then we add the pectin. Now, there are other recipes that calls for, like, the powdered pectin recipes and stuff. The berry measurement's different. Honestly, I did make that, and I thought it was too sweet. It didn't have any hotness appeal to it at all. And my family's a spicy family. They like hot stuff. So that wasn't really a popular dish up here. So I'm trying this different recipe now with the liquid pectin. And this is foaming a lot. Okay, I turned it down a little piece. For foaming, you can put a little smidge of butter in it. And that does cut the foam down. And this is a lot of foam, a lot of foam. But yeah, so anyhow, I still got 4 minutes to go. Y'all don't want to hear me rattle on up for 4 more minutes. So we'll just come back when time is up. Okay, so that is almost 5 minutes up. 5 minutes are up. See, that's how close we were. Anyhow, with that, you can see it's still foaming. It just ain't going as crazy. And then this is the liquid pectin here. Right there, premium liquid fruit pectin. It's just clear, looks like glue almost. And it's kind of like it's thick already almost. So that'll come into here. And then I got to bring this pan back to a full boil and boil it for 1 more solid minute, and that allows the pectin to set up in the jelly then. That way you get that gelled consistency. I guess it's kind of more jammy than jelly because there's going to be little chunks of it. So whatever, hot pepper jelly, hot pepper jam, whatever the title you want to give it is. But anyhow, 1 more minute with this. Want to make sure you definitely let it go at least 1 more minute so that it's good and cooked and the pectin does have time to actually allow it to set. So once this is done, I'll pop it off the heat and we'll start getting the jars out, usually 1, 2 at a time, and I'll start filling the jars. That way, you know, it's still hot when I put it in there. But for now, it's going to boil for 1 minute. And I do got it down on almost low heat. It's like on a 2. So, yeah, I can smell the peppers. I can taste them almost, but they're not as breathtaking as they were when I was chopping them in the processor and all that there good stuff. So hopefully this has a little more spice to it than the last batch, because Not everybody here was a fan of that one, but we'll see about this one here. Okay, time's up on that, so turn the timer off, turn the burner off. I'll push it back off the burner for a few, and then we'll start getting jars out. Okay, so get some jars out, just a couple at a time. Jar lifter. This is your handle. It's plastic, it's rolly, it's not grippy. This is the part that picks up the jars. It's shaped like the jar. So pick it up like this with your handles, however you see fit to do it. We will also go 1/2 inch headspace, which I should have done with the cool jar, but I've done put them all in the oven this go around. So let me see if I can't show you this. All right. There we go. Look how smart. Headspace. So now you see the rings on this for the band to go on. So here's where it starts. That's like 1/8 of an inch or whatever. You keep following around. You get about halfway. You're about 1/4 inch around. All the way to the end of the ring down here. Put you right about 1/2 inch. And down here to the big ring, the big lip that goes all the way around it is about 1 inch. So with this jelly, I would do between 1/2 inch to 1 inch of headspace. That's the amount of air that's in the top of the jar. So let's get these jars filled up and I'll show you. Okay, so you can see there's not a whole lot of foam in here, so I'm not going to stress it too terribly much. Pour it into the jars. Usually I have a plastic ladle to do this with, but like I said, my kitchen's a mess. I've been at this all day, so it's in the middle of some other canning stuff right now that's needing washed. But yeah, that's what it's going to look like. I did leave some seeds in it, only because it's difficult to get them all out. And like I said, they like it spicy here. So I did leave some seeds in it. Because, well, you know, the seeds, especially in the jalapenos, make it spicier. You can make sure you get them all out if you don't want that extra little kick of it. But you can see here, in this jar that's filled, I got about 1 inch of headspace left in the top of it. I can put a little more in there if I like, which I might just for purposes of showing you here. Okay, so this is super full. That's too full probably there. Let me see. Yeah, so you can see that goes almost down here to the bottom. So you're right about 1/2 inch with this jar. Next thing you gotta do is you got to wipe your rims. Okay, mind y'all, this is hot, so I'm going to use this here rag. And because this is sticky, because it's a jelly, it's got the sugar and everything in it, and it gels up and gets thick, I did dampen this cloth. Some people use vinegar to cut the stuff, but I use the funnel, so it's really never that messy that I stress about, ow, burning my finger, that I stress about having to use vinegar to cut anything. You know, you can see that's how clean it is. You just want to make sure there's no debris on the top of this jar at all. That way my bands and lids do seal. Now this here's my flat. You got the rubber gasket, the compound, whatever you want to call it. I honestly probably should have heated these up a little bit because these are like a generic version of, and they don't always seal as great. But we're just going to wing it here today. Normally, it don't hurt to heat them. Not to heat them, just put them in hot water and get the gasket softened a little bit. Next rule, finger tight just right. The 3-finger rule. 3-finger, I guess, this way. Anyhow, so you grip it with 2 and your thumb, and then you tighten it on. If you put it too tight, it'll kinkle the lid. I tend to do that a lot. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've talked about me manhandling them and all that. They're good stuff, which I tend to do all the time because I just can't help myself. You know, see, look how good thick gelled up this is already getting. It'll gel up more as it sets. I want to take some out of that. Anyhow, wipe this here lid, put them both on, and then we'll go drop them all down in the canner. When I get the canner full, we'll take her from there. Okay, as you can see, I am outside. You hear my son's daggum dog barking. You can see that it's dark out here. I've got the canner going super hot by all the steam that's coming off. So pick up the jars like so. Drop it down into the canner. Now there is a rack in the bottom because you cannot put the jars directly on the bottom of the canner. That will cause them to rattle around, shake, and break. So with that, just kind of putting all these jars in here. see them in there. Water needs to be over the top, which it clearly is here. So, and it's already at a rolling boil. So after I finish putting all these in here, I'll put the lid back on it and I'll let it go 10 minutes at a boil. Once it's boiling, which it is, ooh, almost dropped it. It's a 10-minute water bath. That means it just boils in this water here for 10 minutes straight. And then I'll take it out and we'll carry them back into the house then, where I will set them up to cool. But I gotta run another batch on the stove, so the stove is a bit busy. 10 minutes are up, so let's pop these jars out of here. I've got one more batch going tonight, so I gotta keep the water going. And then I'm calling it a day. Ooh. Anyhow, reach in the same way I did. Get them out. Sometimes there's a little bit of water on top. I always just give it a little shake off there. Yeah, that's it. And then we'll take them in the house, set them on a towel to cool. Always put them on a towel, helps keep them from being shocked and all of that there good stuff that, you know, comes with glass jars and high temperatures and stuff like that. So let's go follow up with this in the house here so I get them emptied out. So they're all out. Set them on a towel here to keep the shock and everything down. You can see I've got space in between all the jars so that they cool evenly. So all we gotta do now is wait for the ping to mean they're sealed, and then tomorrow we'll check them.